Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, breathing in through our noses and out through our mouths. Deep, long breaths. Feel that power of you controlling your breathing. Feel that power of you keeping your back straight and your eyes closed, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's slightly painful. That's your true power. That's your determination. So use that power here, now, and forever. And see in your mind today how you will do when that music goes on as we work in the gym of life. But you gotta see it in your mind right now if you want to bring it out into the world. See yourself doing the best you can on all the stretches or exercises that we choose and do together here today, right here, right now, wherever we are. Because you were born to do that. You were born to use your determination to see in your mind what you want to create and then make real as you open your eyes and live your life.
Everybody's in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody
in the spot. Booty moving weight like she on the block. With a drink, I got to know. Top jeans tattoo, cause I'm rock and roll. Half black, half white, diamond now. Gang of money, open up.
Yo, I'm running through these halls like Drano. I got that devilish flow, rock and roll, no halo. We party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm repping on a rise to the top. No lead in our Zeppelin. Hey, party rock is in the house tonight. Woo! Everybody just have a good time. Yeah, and we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Feel it, and we gon' make you lose your mind. We just wanna see you shake that.
In the last few seasons, this one is a little chip into the area, and it's turned in. To give.
Good morning, guys. I want to share with you a powerful secret today that will move us from mind power, maintain our mind health, and then move us towards mind wealth, which is the true destiny of all of us. We are all meant to be happy, free, successful, and not allow anything in life, no matter how negative or bad, to bother us. And it is this. When I read Your One Word by Evan Carmichael, and when I found my one word, it changed everything, all in a flash of lightning. When I realized that everything in my life, everything I like, everything I gravitate towards, the people I hang out with, it's all about determination for me. I said, enough. Once I made that decision, I cut myself off from retreating. I started writing my book, and here I am. Find your one word. You're one word away from your greatness.
Welcome, Growth Day. I have the immense honor of welcoming you all to today's call. I'm so excited to continue this series where we're talking about setting boundaries. And I'm excited to share kind of my way of doing it. And I'm also going to talk about how I call my boundaries considerate boundaries. Because like many of you and like the other coaches have talked about, we are people pleasers by nature. We like to be liked. We want to make people happy. This stems from many things, but I want to talk about considerate boundaries and what that looks like. So first, we're going to start with a story. Now, if you saw my post yesterday on Instagram, I spoke about how I had to set a boundary with my mom just yesterday. Now, if you have siblings or maybe cousins, and potentially if you have immigrant parents, you might have a story similar to this. But I called my mom and I was like, oh my goodness, Mom, like, I have this great news to share. And I'm like sharing it and I'm letting her know how excited I am. And I'm just like, oh, like you tell someone good news because you want to be congratulated. So I tell my mom the good news and she says, oh, I have to prepare when I'm about to do the accent. She's Nigerian for the new people. So she says, okay, that's nice. But did you see your cousin's house? Wow, your cousin, they got a new house and it's so big and so many rooms and so fancy and do. And she starts bragging about my cousin's new house. In that moment, I feel so small and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And of course, I'm trying to be a good sport. And I'm like, yes, like I heard and I saw and it's incredible. And I'm so happy for her. And then I tried to use this statement to kind of redirect the conversation to me, but also including my cousin. So I said, yeah, Mom, like so happy for her. Isn't it cool how both of us were able to succeed in our creative careers? And I thought that was a good job of like bringing it back to me, but also including my cousin. And my mom goes, Yes, but her house, wow, it's so big. And there's a room for her mother. You should do one for me. When will you buy your home? Da, da, da. And just completely derails the conversation. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm human. So I mute myself and I scream because I'm about to assert a boundary, but in that moment, I don't have it. So I'm like, and I let it out because I'm like, I'm about to set a boundary and I want to make sure I'm setting it in a way that she'll receive it. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But a lot of times there is an art to the way that we set boundaries so that it's received well. So I was like, you know what, Mom? I love that you're proud of my siblings and cousins, but when I come to you with good news, I would love for us to just talk about the news and not bring anyone else in just for a minute. I would love to just talk about the news that I'm discussing. And if you're unable to do this, then I might stop sharing certain things with you. And I was just very frank. And then I used these words, these 4 words, and I'm going to break it down. There's hope, feel, want, and need. Hope, feel, want, and need. I said, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Okay, once you assert yourself and you set that boundary, now comes the hard part. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I feel like this feedback is important to hear. And then I want to continue sharing my highlights. I want to continue sharing my highlights, but I need to feel celebrated when I do so. I need to feel celebrated when I do so. I hope, I feel, I want, I need. And when I was looking back in hindsight, I was like, I sound needy. I sound like, I started to judge myself. I was like, oh, I sound like I have a lot of requirements. But I was like, no, Glow, for 32 years, you've shut your mouth and you've just taken whatever you were given. Like, you're an adult now. And sometimes we have to parent our parents on how we like to be treated. So I was like, okay, I've never spoken up for myself. Now is the time. I need to assert myself. I need to set my boundaries. I hope, I feel, I want, and I need. And that comes down to 3 things that we all want to feel. It's safe, seen, and supported. When we're setting a boundary, it means that we just want to feel safe, seen, and supported. And when someone goes outside of those words, that's usually when we have to have that conversation. Okay, so when I think about safety, I think of my family. Okay, I want to feel safe. Like, I don't care if I can't feel safe with friends. It's like family is like the ultimate safety net. Like, I must feel safety with family. Like, that's the utmost importance to me. And this means safe to be myself and to be loved in every version of me, because we are constantly evolving. We are constantly works in progress. And Pastor Mike Todd has this saying where he says, it's about progression, not perfection. Whatever it is that you're doing, wherever you're at on your journey, it is about progression, not perfection, okay? So let's say, for example, I'm calling my sister after a bad day and I just vent and I cry and I'm just like, oh, like, why does this always happen to me? Maybe I'm in like a low vibrational self. Why is this always happening to me? I'm in my victim mentality, victim mindset. Oh, I can't stand this. I'm just complaining. And I can trust that my sister's going to hold space for a weak moment that I'm experiencing. Because in that moment, I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling powerless. I'm feeling weakless. And I don't want to always be held to a certain standard. That's what the internet is for. On the internet, people hold you to a standard and you're not allowed to make mistakes. I have learned the hard way. So when I'm in those weak and human moments, I'm like sister, family, brother, like I must feel safe around them. Now, I want you to think about that for yourself. Write down the name of a family member that you feel you're safest with, because they are going to be your safety net and your go-to person. And sometimes you might be setting a boundary, expecting safety from someone who isn't able to give that to you. So family is usually going to be the place where you can feel the most safe. Now, when I think about support, I'm going to my friends, okay? Now, when I want to feel supported, it means I want to be celebrated in my endeavors and acknowledged for the work that I do. So, for example, I could be hosting an event. I've hosted events in Puerto Rico in the past, in Belize and Bali. So let's say a friend comes and volunteers to help, or they offer feedback on a product that I've launched, or they help me, edit up my manuscript, something. I feel so supported. And my love language is acts of service. So it's really important that you are not only vocalizing your needs for support, but you're going to your friends when you need it most, when you need that type of support, okay?
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.
Are you ready to bubble? Bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 bubbling, dance all night, we go dance all night. Yo, are you ready to bubble? Dance all night, we go dance all night. Ha ha, we want to see ya. Dance all night, we go dance all night. Dance all, dance all, dance all, dance. All right, y'all. Are you ready to bubble? Bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, bubbling, everybody bubbling, little bubble, bubble, bubbling, bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, little bubble, bubbling, yo, bubbly, 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 bum, 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 bubbly, 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 bum, bubble, bubble, bubble. All right, make way when you see me pass through, and they come with me too. You don't know what to do. Drinks up, hands up, everything in the air. Everybody done young, there's a party over here. That's right, the drinks just bubbling. Watch how we wine while the DJ juggling. He got the whole dance floor just bubbling. Champagne bottles just popping. We going on, I guess the night we not stopping. Let's party hard tonight. So going non-stop until the sunlight. We going non-stop until the sunlight. The club done full, only woman inside. It's a good night to get we head tight. It's a good night to get we head tight. Couple up this party going for a fly. Green drinks, we don't care. We go down.
Barcelona some breathing space.
Good morning, guys. Top 10 rules for success. Today, Warren Buffett shares with us something so powerful, and it's connected to what we're talking about in developing our mind wealth. And I think it is a sure sign that you have or are on the path of infinite mind wealth. And that is Warren Buffett, the greatest investor, one of the guys who's the best at making money in the world through making decisions, calculated decisions. He says that the greatest secret he's learned is the power of unconditional love. And he refers to the power that a parent has for a child. He goes on to tell us today that knowing that you can come back and people will love you no matter what. And we all have that capability to have that unconditional love for everyone. He says that's the most powerful lesson he learned. It can unlock the full potential of all of us. So think about that. The greatest investor in the world is talking about unconditional love. May we all use it for everyone. Have a great day.
I was telling my team the story about the two wolves, where you have two wolves inside you, and one wolf is the one who's making the right decisions and makes you proud of yourself, and the other wolf is the one who's making all the wrong decisions and you don't end up liking yourself. It's like, well, which wolf wins? And the answer is the wolf that you feed.
Yeah.
Like, either wolf could win,
Yeah.
but the wolf that you feed is the one that gets stronger. So how do you feed the good wolf? Well, every decision that you make that makes you proud of yourself is feeding the good wolf. And every time you lie, every time you cheat, every time you say you're going to do something and you don't follow through, to yourself, not even to other people.
Yeah.
You tell yourself you're going to the gym and you don't show up, you're feeding the bad wolf. He's getting stronger. Now, the next time you make a commitment, you don't know if you're going to follow through or not. You're training yourself that I don't follow through.
Yeah.
So your future goal is like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. The bad wolf is growing stronger and stronger and stronger. And so it's a daily battle to keep feeding the good wolf so that the future you will continue to be proud.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I watch these videos every day because I need them for motivation. Being around successful entrepreneurs every morning helps me believe that I can do great things too. It's like your morning coffee, but for your goals, kickstarting your day with a blast of positivity. So here is a challenge for you. Try watching one video every morning for the next 30 days. And let's find out together if they help you do great things too. If you're in, leave a hashtag believe in the comments below so I can celebrate with you. So today you get to learn from me and my team's take on my top 10 rules of success. Believe. Rule number 2 is develop self-belief.
I don't think you're ever done believing in yourself. There's always another level. And so if I look at, I'm 43 now. And if I go back to my first real business, I was 19. Man, if 19-year-old Evan believed in himself like 43-year-old Evan does now, it would be amazing. But at the same time, I'm not done either. If 83-year-old Evan came back to 43-year-old Evan, it's the same message. Hey, you got to believe in yourself more to do the next big thing. When starting your show, I'm sure there's, at the beginning, maybe you didn't believe in yourself. Who's going to watch my show? And how do I get started? And all these things. And now to do a show is not as big a deal. It's like you've done a whole bunch, closing in on 100. It's exciting. But it's okay, what's the next level? Because there's always another level. And so I think the world's biggest problem is people don't believe in themselves. I think whatever cancer is a problem. Yes. Okay. I think the woman who solves cancer would have already solved it by now, but she's a manager at some accounting firm because she never believed in herself to go into med school or to solve this grand challenge. And so settled for a smaller life. And I think that's what most people do.
Rule number 3 is turn distractions into opportunities.
How can us young people focus, find purpose, and avoid, like you always say, avoid going to a job we hate, going back home to a home that's too small in the future?
I would look at what are you getting distracted by? Because the answer might be in there. So if you're getting distracted because you're going on YouTube and you're watching Minecraft videos, maybe you should be a Minecraft creator. If you're getting distracted by going on Instagram and looking up avocado recipes, maybe you should be doing something with avocados and cooking and recipes. Like, think about what you're getting distracted by. And then how can you turn that into a career? Because it's never been easier or more possible. If you're sitting in history class and you're hating it and you're daydreaming and you don't want to think about the Civil War or whatever you're being taught, right? Some people love history and that should be their thing. But pick your worst subject. What are you daydreaming about? Shoes, music, cooking? Like, what are you daydreaming about? Whatever you're getting distracted by likely has the answer for what you should be doing.
Rule number 4 is know your why.
I like to go from why to how to who. So at the beginning of what you're doing, you're going to start blessings. How many episodes have you done?
I'm up to about 70 something. Yeah.
Awesome. At the beginning, it's hard. At the beginning, there's all this self-doubt. Who's going to watch my show? Who does the world need another podcast? Do I even have another voice? Is anybody going to care? What is my studio going to look like? And all of these things that we think about. And the thing that gets you through is actually not the how, it's the why. At the beginning, it's the why. Why are you doing this show? Why is it so important that this thing exists? So at the very beginning, the why really matters. I want to create a show to spread blessings around the world. If you can feel connected to what you're doing, you're much more likely to get going. And so at the beginning, it's really just about creating momentum, and that's remembering the why. Then it moves into the how. And the how is, okay, I feel connected to the mission. I want to start my podcast. Great. I need to figure out what I'm doing. I need to get a camera. I need to ask people that they want to come on my show. I need to get my blessings signed and some tulips. And I need to, I'm sure the set's evolved over the years too. It probably didn't start out this way, or maybe it did.
I just got that.
Perfect. It's like it evolves and it grows. And if we come back in 3 years, it'll be even better, right? It'll be ongoing change. But then it goes to the how. And the how is we need to start doing something. But then as you continue to build, evolve, and grow, it moves to the who. Because as your mission gets bigger, there's no way for you to how everything. The why is still there, but there's no way for you to how everything. Because there's too many things that have to get done.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight our favorite lessons from the video that will inspire you to remember what you learned today and actually apply them. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is build your personal brand.
In today's society, personal brand is becoming really important. What is a way that you can have your personal brand stick out from others?
I think it's important to think about what is a story that only you can share.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at the trends, you can look at what people are putting up, but inside of that, what is a story that only you can share? So for me, I'm a visual learner, so I could talk about being a visual learner. I'm an introvert, I could talk about being an introvert. I've made 10,000 videos, I can talk about making 10,000 videos. If you're just following some trend, but you don't have a unique perspective on it, it's probably not going to do so well.
Yeah.
So what are the stories that only you can share? So you're basically being one of one. What does that look like for you? And it might take some time to figure that out. At the beginning, when you're on your career, if you're going to be a content creator, well, you don't know how to make content yet. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to copy other people. You model, you see what other people are doing, and you do it. But if all you do is copy other people, you're going to be an Elvis impersonator. I don't know if the audience knows an Elvis impersonator, but basically people who make their whole career out of pretending to be Elvis Presley, who's a very famous American singer. But that's the height of your career. It's like you're a copy of somebody else. So you'll never be the original. You'll just be a copy of somebody else. So at the beginning, it's okay to copy, because how do you know? But in the doing, you then figure out, how do I mix this thing with my own unique elements? Mm-hmm. As you start making videos, you'll start finding things you can add in that other people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. You may not be able to plan it out. If I'm just sitting here on this chair and I'm trying to plan out my future as a content creator, I've never done anything, you're not going to have any degree of accuracy in what you create. But it's in the doing, by modeling other people, and then seeing how can I add my own unique twist to things, that your style, your voice, your unique angles start to come out.
Rule number 6 is learn to compromise. It's recognizing what can you control. If your parents don't support, let's take the worst case. Your parents don't support your podcast. Your parents say, Ben, this is stupid. You need to go become a doctor, a lawyer. You can't be a podcaster. Well, you're probably too young to move out, right? I mean, at some point you have to become an adult, right? At some point, 14 may be a little young, but maybe it's 16, maybe it's 18, maybe it's 20. Like, at what point are you an adult and you're going to start to live your life? This is a very interesting time, like between 14 and 18, is to start realizing that I need to be able to start living my life. So it's like, what's the small version? So I'm looking at compromises. So and I'm not saying your parents don't want you to do the podcast. I'm sure they're super supportive, but let's go with the worst case scenario. Well, your parents probably love you, right? Like, chances are your parents love you. And for everybody listening, watching, your parents probably love you. They just don't understand the world that exists for you right now. Your parents at 14 were totally different. The opportunities available to them were totally different. If you are a 14-year-old and you're going to call up and have a conversation with a 40-year-old, it's like, wait, what? And what are you talking about? It's just super weird. So they want you to have success. They just see success totally differently than what you see it as right now. So they probably love you. Now, they have different expectations of you, and as long as you're under their roof, you have to at least try to match it so you don't get into trouble. So if they're saying, okay, well,
we really care, Ben, is that you get good grades in school. Great. So if I get straight A's in school, can I have my podcast? Like, right? That's the negotiation, right? It's like, hey, so you're under their roof. This is the deal. You're going to study hard. You're going to get your straight A's or whatever it is. And then you get to do your thing on the side.
Rule number 7 is practice positive self-talk.
You continue to believe in yourself in spite of your insecurities. So whose voice do you hear in your head telling you that you can do it?
A combination of a few. The first is my best self. So I'm talking to myself constantly and saying, okay, Evan, let's go. You got this. You can do this. It's going to be a great day. Let's go. You're going to have a great session with Mitzi. It's going to be awesome. I'm constantly just, I guess if you can hear the conversation in my own head, I might be put in an asylum or something, but it's like I'm constantly talking to myself and trying to cheer myself on. The second is my parents. My mom would always say, you're Evan Carmichael. You can do anything you believe that you can. And that's a constant reminder. There's a giant picture of my parents right there in front of me as a reminder. And then the third is all the people that I profile. You mentioned the top 10 series on my channel. I profile successful people because I want to be around them every day, because I want to learn something from them every day. And when I see Elon Musk thinking about a backup plan for the Earth by going to Mars, it's, man, I thought I was thinking big. And here it's like backup plan for all of humanity. And not using that as a kick down, like I suck and I'm not thinking big enough, but as a push forward to say, wow, these people are doing amazing things. And therefore I can too.
Rule number 8 is create a schedule.
How do you stay consistent?
I think it's really important to have two things. One, that you have a schedule that keeps you on track every day, starting with your morning routine. So I think most people wake up like an accident. I think most people, the first thing they do is they hit the snooze button on their alarm clock. And what does that tell you? That is, you set a goal the night before that I'm going to wake up at 7 o'clock this morning. And the very first thing you do every day is say, slam, it's okay not to hit my goals. That's the first thing most people do every day is they tell themselves that okay not to hit my goal. That's really hard to set yourself up for a great day when the very first thing you're doing, likely multiple times per day, hitting the snooze in the morning is that it's okay not to hit my goal. So first thing, like just get up and have a schedule, especially a morning routine that sets you up for success. Don't wake up like an accident. Do the thing that gets you feeling inspired, bold, confident every morning, whatever that is. For me, I like watching a video. I like learning from somebody who's had success. And then I also like sharing it. So I'll always wake up and I'll share a message on my Instagram that's just an inspiring message for the day. And then I'm good to go. For the person asking the question, whatever it is for you, like maybe you need to listen to an episode of this podcast every morning, huh? That's a good way to get fired up. Maybe you need to put on some reggae tunes. Maybe you need to dance outside with your cat. Like whatever the thing is that gets you feeling motivated, bold, confident. And we've all felt that. You know what it feels like to have that feeling. What did you do to get that? And then put that into your morning routine. I find that really, really helpful.
Rule number 9 is do hard things.
If I say scary, difficult, or hard, I have to do it. Just because I said it, the fact that I'm scared of it is not a good enough reason anymore, because everything you want is in the other side of scared. My family's been trained, my team's been trained to hear me say scary, difficult, or hard. Say, you said it, like, oh crap, now I have to go do it just because. And that might be a little crazy, weird duck for people, but it's helped me. The one that's more accessible and easy for people to grasp is that we still want to serve. Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you don't want to serve. Doesn't mean you don't want to help. That you've got a message, you've got knowledge that if you were going to sit down with the person you were 10 years ago, you could help that person. You could give that person guidance, love, even just a hug would be valuable, right? Depending on what we've all been through, some trauma, pain, struggle, suffering. It's why you're here. Entrepreneurs, the greatest thing is to serve and give back and help, and obviously make money in the process of doing that, but we're here to serve and help. And so if you're silent, you're not helping people.
Yeah.
So you want to serve and give back. And so that every time I shift it from, I'm not here for me and making myself look good in front of Deepak or whoever, it's he's got a message and hasn't been asked an entrepreneurial kind of interview before. So I'm trying to get knowledge out of him that people can use. I'm here to serve. So it's not about me anymore. It's about who I'm trying to help. And that calms me down. So depending on the day and the situation, I rotate between the two. Like I do difficult things and I'm here to serve. And sometimes it's like 90-10 or sometimes it's 50-50, but those two things help me get up on stage or doing that interview to get the message out. Easy means you're only doing things you know how to do.
So you're just stuck doing, you actually hate your life. Like you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over again, right? I think that if there's nothing in your calendar that scares you, you actually hate your life. You want to grow, you want to learn, and that has to come with some dose of fear. Otherwise, it's a lifetime of regret.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is enjoy the process.
Something I've always wanted to do is start a business. And like you said, when you were 14, you were doing the trading cards. And, when I was young, I also used to, sell avocados on the street. In fact, but now I want to get into something a lot more serious. But I find myself getting really excited about these new projects. But then after a month, it kind of wears down, like, the shiny object syndrome. So what are your tips on, staying committed and following through?
You have to love the process of it. So how do you avoid the shiny object syndrome? Often that's the result. It's like you like the result of making money. You like the result of helping this person. You like the result of being able to put that work in and help people and have extra cash in your pocket. Like you like the result. Do you like picking avocados? Do you like looking after the avocado tree and watering it? Do you like having maybe no, right? So that's the problem. You have to like both the result as well as the actual process of doing it, right? So if I look at me, I've done over 10,000 videos on YouTube. And people ask me, don't I burn out? Like, no, because I like it. Like talking to you right now, this isn't work for me. I like it. It's fun. You've done your research. You're asking great questions. I don't look at this on my calendar and say, oh my God, I got to do an interview. Who's this guy, Ben? What are we talking about? I look forward to it. I open up my calendar like, oh, this is going to be fun. I can't wait to talk to this guy, right? So the result is going to be an interview that, goes on your show and maybe gets me more views or gets you more subscribers or whatever. Great. But the actual process, you've done a lot of work to research my story, to come up with all your questions, which is great. Did you enjoy the process of doing that? Did you enjoy the process of us talking here, right? If yes, then this could be your business. If no, then I think it's great to explore it.
Throughout that journey, there had to be some kind of perspective on the monetary gain of the growth, of the gain of growth of that respect. Was it always like, I want to serve people? Or how did you kind of get past that first jump in the beginning where, a lot of people aren't really focused on serving. They're just focused on getting to a point where they can serve sustainably, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I'm an entrepreneur. I like making money. You have to make money. If you have a big mission, even if you want to serve, I'm service first, like mission first, purpose first, change the world first. Awesome. And you have to learn to make money. So I say money can't be number one, but it's got to be in your top 5. If making money is in your top 100, you're not going to make money. And then you're just helping people on the evenings and weekends, which is still great, but it's not what you could be doing, right? We've got over 50 people on my team now because we know how to make money. And if we didn't, then I'd be doing this. I probably wouldn't be on here talking to you because I'd have to do a million other things in my business just to keep the thing going. And so whether you're doing advertising or brand deals or sponsorships, or you have a product or service that you're selling, figuring out how you're going to make money is really, really, really important, especially in the early days, because that is usually the thing that kills most people's dreams. It kills most people's podcasts and shows. It's like, man, that was so much fun to do, but I can't justify the time doing it anymore because I need to make money, and so I have to go back and get a job.
Tell us, what is one thing you do every morning to set your day up for success?
I've got a bunch. I'm trying to think what would be a really cool or different one. Thinking about service, right? Like, it's so easy to get complacent as an achiever. So thinking about what I do today has to matter. I want to create something meaningful that's going to help impact other people's lives today, and putting that pressure, like tomorrow is a different day. Today, something important has to happen. Giving has to be a part of the morning routine.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah. Whether that's actually giving in terms of you're going to take a call with somebody and mentor them, or you're going to buy the coffee for the person behind you in line, or you're just going to meditate and pray for somebody. like I'm thinking of somebody in my head and I want them to have love today, and you're like focusing your energy on supporting somebody else, giving will make you feel so much more alive and has to be a part of your daily routine.
I was curious if you like found yourself taking on personality traits of like recklessness, like you went way far on the other side, and like discernment was starting to get grayed, the lines were starting to get blurred. Has any of that ever crept into like, I know I don't want to live with regret, so I'm going to go all in on the other side?
I don't think that happens.
Okay.
You know, there's planners and doers, and the planners need to do more and the doers need to plan more. But it's very rare that a planner just becomes a doer and stops planning.
Yeah.
Right? So there's people who just plan things for years and then they still don't do anything. And there's people who just take action, but they're like all over the place, and tomorrow's a different action, the next is, and there's no plan or strategy, and they end up just running around in circles. Tons of action, but not moving anywhere. You're just running in a circle. And so I think it's I haven't really seen people move from one category to the other. But whatever category you're in, you need more of that other thing. People ask me about humility. It's like, well, you're humble and all this stuff. It's like, okay, well, I need more bravado. I would be doing my mission more service if I had a little more bravado and ego and look at me and chest thumping. It's taken me a long time to come out of my shell and even say yes to any interview. Like I've done enough of these now, but if this was 10 years ago, I would have said no. I would have said, no, Nicholas, like, or what are your questions? I need to know everything you're going to ask me because I'd be afraid of letting you down or letting your show down. And so I think whatever those personality traits are that you have, I haven't seen people completely move to the other side. And if anything, you need more of that in your life. So, I would think most people need more of the let's not live with regret, because most people live with regret. And there's some few crazy people might have a gene missing or something who like are just insanely reckless and don't care. And maybe they need a little more caution and planning and strategy, you know? So it's the self-awareness to know what you need most.
Yeah, self-awareness definitely helps.
When you're having those days, what do you tell yourself, or who helps you on those days? Because we can't all have 10 out of 10 days, right? Like we wish we could, but they're not always going to be a 10 out of 10. We have to accept that sometimes there's a 2 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. What do you do on those days?
Yeah, so my habits save me for most of the time. I almost every day will have a Believe walk, and that's part of my morning routine. I wake up, I get outside, I go for a Believe walk, and that's getting fresh air. But I'm also listening to one of my own videos and responding to people in my community to remind me of the thing that I'm doing. I haven't. This part's a little weird. Where like I haven't wanted to quit. People are like, "What about quitting on you?" I haven't thought about quitting ever on YouTube. It's too connected now to like serving and what I do. But do I have days that are lower energy, or do I have days where I'm not thinking big enough? I mean, especially that one, 100%. You know.
Yeah.
I think if you're consistently thinking about quitting, you have to understand the reason why. Is it because you're afraid, or is it because you don't want to do things? I think people stay in things too long. Like when people say don't quit. I think people should often quit on businesses sooner, relationships sooner, jobs sooner, because you'll never win doing work that you hate. But if the reason that you're quitting is because you're afraid, that's not a good enough reason. And so where I am challenging myself to do the most work is on bigger thinking. Like the biggest frustration for me is, okay, so if I'm at 3.5 million subscribers, how do I get to 35, right? And how do I live in that vibe consistently? If I'm feeling super low energy, I'll take a break. You know, like I had people over at my house not too long ago for my birthday. I've invested into a bunch of different entrepreneurs and I mentor them once a week, and they came over. I don't really celebrate my birthday. So I was like, okay, come on over for my birthday and we'll hang out together. And we spent 5 days together, and like all day, all night, fell behind on like everything I was doing. And then I had the Monday where like everybody went home kind of Sunday night, and like, okay, I'm not doing anything today, you know. Like my voice started to get a little sore. It wasn't as like, it was so much high energy. I This is today's recovery day. I think I posted on Instagram like, recovery day today. I'll see you tomorrow. And I just checked out of everything that I was doing.
We could take these businesses in different directions. Like if the goal is speaking, the key thing is getting to know the people who are hosting these events. Who are the people putting it on? And build a relationship with them. The easiest way to do that is the Biz Dev show. So you have them on your show. You already have a podcast. It's great. I don't know how you're selecting the guests to come on your show, but now it's with an intent to, I want to get speaking gigs from this person or their network. Like, are you already thinking about that, or how have you picked?
I mean, the reason I started the podcast was to have a big personal development brand podcast. And so my concern in that is that a lot of the people I get on now are speakers, authors, coaches, that stuff, which I understand I can't market to them because they're in the same game, but not to dilute the podcast, if that makes sense.
So you have two choices there. One, you start a different show geared just towards this, or two, you find an angle that it feels right in your heart to have them on. So if you're looking at who's putting on events for entrepreneurs, you can go research all the events for entrepreneurs, or even like, I don't know if you go into sales or if you go into MLM.
Yeah, I would,
Great. So all of those conferences or people who are selling insurance, like all of these things, they're like pseudo entrepreneurs. Insurance people are, you're kind of an entrepreneur, but you're not.
There's way less risk.
Right? Real estate, same thing. You're an entrepreneur, but there's like a support system around it. So there's lots of events happening around those things. You find a list of all the events, you find a list of who's organizing them, you invite them on your show to be a guest. They care about personal development. Otherwise, they wouldn't be putting on these events.
True.
Why put on an event for entrepreneurs or real estate professionals or MLM industry or whatever? They care about this stuff. Do you personally connect with them enough that it feels right in your heart to have them on the show? You can make a judgment call. Whether it's a fit for the main show or you start a different show around it. But that's going to be your fastest path to get speaking gigs.
Right.
Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Messi scores!
Morning, guys. I'm really excited, really pumped up about this. I want to start a new series and just put a lighter note on things. When we go on a path of going from mind power, maintaining our mind health, and moving to infinite mind wealth, a lot of it is difficult to understand. It's painful to sometimes go deep within ourselves and try to be the best we can be, but it's a great path, and I want us to have fun with it. So what I thought we'd do today is start a series, and I can start us off. I want to start showing you how it's okay to laugh at ourselves, and I know I got to do more of this. So I want to share with you something that I watched in a video. I watched Evan Carmichael once referred to how we need to just be able to take shots at our ego. So I remember him referring to the fact that we're not good at what we're doing, even though we're trying to get to that place, and that's okay. So I want you to look at me, look back on my videos, look at my path, and watch I'm not good at what I'm doing. I know I'm not, but I'm always on the path to get better. So hope this helps you. Laugh at yourself. Have a great day, everybody.
The usual mistake or dysfunctional way of living, unconscious way, is, as I've mentioned before, is devaluing the present moment and overvaluing the next moment. Ego lives always with reference to past and future. We mentally are always somewhere else, instead of giving fullest attention to this, because this is the most valuable moment. Why? Because it's the only one, the present moment. Give your fullest attention to this moment, because it's not true that the next moment is more significant, because it never comes. So there is a way of being totally present in the planning for the future. It's all little things. And even whoever, if you're the Pope or the president of a huge corporation or the president of a country, it's still the same. The present moment in its richness that is usually overlooked because you're looking for something more significant.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit my business partner, and the thing that kept me going was studying the stories of famous entrepreneurs and seeing how they struggled and seeing what they had to overcome and listen to their wisdom, motivation, gave me the courage, the strength, the belief to go one more day and see my business through. And in all honesty, I still need the inspiration, wisdom, motivation today for my business too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Eckhart Tolle, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
It's fine to achieve things, especially if they are beneficial. But for humanity and the totality on the planet, it's lovely to have that. But even that doesn't make up your identity. The more you honor the small things, the more likely it is that you'll experience more good things in the so-called future, because you have such a good relationship with the present. Gratitude is an underlying state of consciousness, which is giving your fullest attention and honoring what is. The power to manifest is in experiencing the fullness of the present moment, the undifferentiated fullness. So when you don't complain about not other people, but also about your life, then you can't be a victim anymore. I is the light of consciousness in which these feelings are being experienced right now. A victim is a huge prison. It is not who you are. And remember, thanks for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. So there's this wonderful stillness here, and let's acknowledge it. The power is not just in you, it's all around you.
Rule number 2 is stop feeding the ego.
The transcendence of thinking means the transcendence of the egoic mind. It means that you're able to spend part of your time relatively free of compulsive thinking, certainly free of self-serving thinking and destructive thinking that continuously creates unhappiness for yourself and the people around you. How many people live in the compulsive narrative in your mind that for many people is very negative, constantly critical, constantly complaining, never at ease with what is. There's always something wrong, fault finding, because the ego grows through constant opposition, constant antagonism, never at ease, always looking for the next thing to complain about. And it strengthens the egoic self. The more you complain, offended is a new version these days. It's very popular on the internet. very offended. Outrageous. How dare you? There are thousands or hundreds of thousands who go on every day, they look on their screen waiting for the next thing to be offended by. And the ego loves it. And for many of them, it's the only way they can inflate their ego, by sitting on the screen and sending out tweets. The transcendence of thinking is not any kind of regressive movement. We are not regressing to the state of somebody whose mind is relatively undeveloped and who does not have a problem with egoic thinking because there's very little going on in their minds. What used to be called, before it became politically incorrect, idiot or fool. The fool was, they were always, you could see happy fools. They don't, there's not enough thinking to make them unhappy, so they are below egoic thinking. In medieval times, every village had at least one village idiot or fool, and normal was accepted, essential part of the community. And even the royal courts had a fool, a very important figure, although that figure probably was just pretending to be a fool, and that was one of the most, sometimes very influential position in the royal court, but also one of the most dangerous jobs you could have, because you could lose your head at any moment. But only the fool was able to tell the king or queen what was wrong, by making it into a funny story. But the fool is more deeply connected, as we know from mythology. The fool is more deeply connected with the source, still hasn't gone as far out as a normally developed human. He's more simple. The fool, for example, relatively speaking, is a simpleton. It's like the Hobbit in Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is a simple guy. Doesn't think in complex terms, loves the simple things of life, loves eating and enjoyment. But why the fool has to go on this important mission that nobody else can carry out? That's a mythological motive. That's often the case, because the fool has a connectedness still with source that the more developed humans don't have. Similar motive in Forrest Gump, the movie. The fool does great things, this guy, Forrest Gump, because and life always supports him. If you watch that movie again, he saves people in the war, he does heroic things, but he doesn't claim credit because he doesn't have much of an ego yet. And all his life gives him the next thing and the next thing, supports him. But we don't want to go there. When I say cessation of thinking, I'm not talking about regressing to the stage that is the pre-thinking stage of humanity. I'm thinking about rising above, pointing to the possibility of rising above thinking. So you stop thinking, which is normally associated with diminishment of consciousness, and transcendence of thinking is an intensification of consciousness, turning up the light. This is why the term attention and alertness, those terms are extremely important. They're also used in Zen very frequently. The Zen teachings could be described, if you wanted to summarize Zen, you can just say simple things like pay attention. There was one Zen teacher who would whenever they asked him a question to explain Zen, he became quite famous. He would always raise his finger. Please explain Zen to us. What is Zen? I haven't quite understood yet. He was calling people to attention. Now, this attention, there's a state of attention that sometimes people experience when they're engaged in dangerous activity. You can climb a mountain. Do you think you're doing much thinking when you're hanging on this wall? No, you can't. You have to be absolutely present. In that moment, you have transcended thinking, and the situation is forcing you into complete presence, this highest degree of alertness. Without it, you slip and you're gone. And so this high degree of alertness, however, has no tension in it. In the case of somebody practicing dangerous sport, yes, there is physical tension, but the state itself has no tension in it, and you do not need to engage in a dangerous activity in order to enter that state. We are entering it here because even as I talk about it, I hope, well, I don't really hope anything, but I trust that as I speak about it, simultaneously to listening to it, you can verify in yourself this state of attention, which is a state of very high alertness, but there's no tension in it. It's not the alertness that sometimes goes with fear, and you go, but it's not, that's really a contraction of the entire body. It's not really alertness. So that's not it. It's a relaxed alertness. There's both yin and yang in it, coming together, and it's that. I also mentioned the other day, when you first look at something for the first few seconds, a new vista, a new landscape, you enter a room, or you step out of a room into the open, or whatever it is, or suddenly something new comes into your into your perceptual field. In the first 2 or 3 seconds, you don't know what it is. You have to first take it in. There's a moment of alert presence, but usually you're only aware of the sense perception. You're not aware of the background of the alert presence itself. But you can be aware of the alert presence itself as you take it in. And that's the key. So you're not just alertly present, you're aware of the field of alert presence in yourself, so to speak, as yourself. And the awareness of it and it are the same thing. Cessation of thinking. Now, you can try it. Even now, I would suggest that as I'm speaking, you may find, you may not know this yet, in the moments when I'm not speaking, like now, and now, and now, if you're alert, you're not thinking, you're just present. And now, there's just an alert field of presence. So, some of you may not be able yet to be totally free of thinking, but I believe that most people are able to, they have short gaps of no thought, pure awareness, or no thought. Just a short. And then you look around. In that moment, your personal sense of self has receded. In a moment of pure presence, which is just this, you have no memories and you have no expectations for future. Because you have no thought. But you haven't fallen asleep. You're very awake. In that moment, you're not a person anymore. What are you? Just a field of consciousness, conscious presence. Something has emerged from within you and has taken place of the person. The person is still there, it's just gone receded. If the only thing you achieve in life is this, that you are able to be free of compulsive and addictive thinking, if you're able to, almost one could say, to choose not to think when there's nothing in particular to think about, when you can just be present. So in other words, if you can step out of thinking into aware presence, that alert space, then that is the greatest thing you could achieve in this lifetime, that any human could achieve in this lifetime. And yet there's nobody left to say, I have achieved it. That's the problem for the ego. The ego would love to say, oh, I have achieved the state of presence. So it's not an achievement. I'm just saying it's an achievement, but it's not really. Because you didn't do it. You got out of the way and then it happened.
Rule number 3 is build self-awareness.
Here we are again, ending the way we begun today together. Knowing the truth, though, that nothing ever ends, nothing is ever over. Determination is never over, never done. Because we are an energy. We are one energy. The way we take control of our breathing in this moment, the way we did our best today on all the exercises and stretches we did, that's the same way, same process we can use to make the best decisions. No, not decisions, determinations. Positive choices, loving choices, peaceful, grateful, mind healthy, mind wealthy choices, determinations. We don't choose and lose, we determine and win. Just like we won again today, here, right now. Just like we're winning right here, right now, just by being our presence, who we are. By believing and truly knowing the absolute truth that can never be taken away from you by words, by actions of others, or any things, any negativity, any sort of losses, pain, suffering, lies that is taking place. Those are lies. That's not the truth of what we were all born to do and be. That's just the mind that has taken over. The collective mind
our individual minds, but we have the power. We have our determination. We have the power to separate our minds from who we really are. Love, that infinite energy that is responsible for all that you are, see, the universe. What else could create something so magnificent other than love? The power of love. The love that's in you, in all of us. So let's just get our thoughts, our negativity, our anxieties, our stresses, when things don't go our way or as they should, get those thoughts out of the way. And feel the truth when all that has gone away. It's love. It's infinite intelligence. It's you.